We then see some footage from Heat where Bob Backlund is revealed as being the man behind the idea that Angle should defend both his European and Intercontinental titles in tonight's match against Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. Angle puts Backlund in the chicken wing as a receipt for this. Then we see Angle talking to security, asking for extra protection after he wins his match tonight, celebrates with the fans. That brings us to Chris Jericho coming to the ring and taking the mic, and enters in a promo using his tired as hell catchphrases. And I gotta be honest, this is dreadful. Chris Jericho, how did you ever get over again after this? And he was doing this for about 2 years, and it was absolutely terrible. I thought it was honestly one of the lows of the show. And we've seen some lows on this show, but Jericho's pre-match promo I thought was utter garbage. It was cheesy, it was forced, it was tired, it was awful.
I've got in my notes that after that promo, I went and looked in the mirror and asked myself why I A, bought a Y2J shirt in 2000 and B, wore it to Insurrection about 6 weeks later. This was dreadful. Dreadful.
It worked.
Oh, no, it didn't. It was so forced.
Whether it was forced or not, the crowd hung on to every word. They were loudly going the never again bit. They were into it. They loved it. That's what you want.
I don't think they were that into it. I think there were some people into it. I don't think it was. It wasn't like The Rock getting people to sing along with him. There was a smattering of about 20% of the crowd who were into it, but just awful. Just terrible. Anyway, that preceded the Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle 2-fall match. One of the falls for the European title, one of them for the Intercontinental title. Cage match breaks them down as two different matches. The Intercontinental title triple threat match lasts 8 minutes, and the European title match lasts 5.5 minutes. The Intercontinental title is won by Chris Benoit when he pins Chris Jericho, and the European title is won by Chris Jericho when he pins Chris Benoit for the European Championship. Matt, what do you think of the match?
This is a hard one for me to talk about because with all three guys involved, I had a lot higher expectations for this. And don't get me wrong, I particularly, with Kurt Angle as well in particular, I know it was early on in some of their careers, but yeah, I still had a lot higher expectations for this, and it never really felt like it sort of left second gear to me. They obviously tried to do a couple of things. There was one or two good spots in there. Benoit did his headbutt. The Jericho did the double power bomb, which fair play to him. You could tell took a bit of strength because God bless him, he was struggling to get Kurt up for that second power bomb. But they tried. There was a ref bump. Benoit had the visual tap with the crossface. The ref wasn't there for the time that they had. I don't know if it was the stipulation, maybe. No, when I was thinking about it afterwards, I felt that had I been watching it at the time, the stipulation might have been telegraphing the finishes a little bit. So, maybe at the time I was thinking, I don't know if I would have liked that, but I don't know. This was actually, I don't want to say poor because I don't think that's really fair, but I don't think this was that good. And again, for the caliber of guys involved, this really should have been a lot better.
I'm going to say poor. I thought this was bang average. And I thought, to start off with, just when you're having the absolute time of your life watching WrestleMania 2000 again, Chris Benoit comes on screen.
It's not poor, I suppose, but it is average, and I think it's basically another match in a number of matches here where I went in thinking this will be better than it actually was. So I count the ladder match in that, I count the main event in that, and I count this and that. All of them should be better, or, well, in the case of the ladder match, I would say I was expecting it to be better, but the other two should be better, and they're not as good as they should be. It is early in Kurt Angle's time. There are some moments where they have a few exchanges where you can see the talent they've got, but it just is not consistently evident throughout, and it's not the best. I guess from a story perspective, Kurt losing both titles without being pinned or submitted is a way to protect Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle obviously would have that meteoric rise over the course of this year, which ended up with him being the champion, and he was phenomenal. And this was a year, talking about emotional connection, I massively loved Kurt Angle. I thought he was brilliant right from the get-go. I just loved the concept of the character at first, which was this really clever twist on the American hero, which is basically, I think now is almost a little bit like overdone, but at the time was quite unique. Certainly the way they introduced Kurt Angle, I thought was really clever in that they kind of introduced him as if they were with a straight face presenting him as an American hero type character at a time when they knew that wouldn't work, and it was bizarre and really, really clever. As I say, I just thought it was a great year in general that year for Kurt Angle.